The UK has signed a $4.6 billion deal to hand over sovereignty of the Chagos Islands to Mauritius while retaining control of a UK-US military base on Diego Garcia, the largest of the islands. The British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said the 99-year agreement to lease back Diego Garcia will cost the UK £101 million a year and is necessary to protect the base from malign influence. The Mauritian Prime Minister said the agreement completed the total process of decolonization. The Chagos archipelago comprises 7 atolls with about 60 individual islands that came under British rule in 1814. During the 1960s, Britain separated the Chagos Islands from Mauritius and forcibly removed the indigenous people to make way for a U.S. military base on Diego Garcia. In a 2019 International Court of Justice ruling, it concluded that the UK's continued administration of the islands was unlawful and that the Chagos archipelago should be returned to Mauritius. Then in 2021, the UN International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea supported Mauritius's claim to sovereignty, affirming that the UK has no legitimate claim over the territory. The UK deal with Mauritius includes Mauritius not permitting China to set up any bases on any of the islands. With global power shifting to the east, the UK is seeking to strengthen ties with countries in the global south, including Mauritius, especially since Brexit has been a failure. The UK has got everything it wanted. It's returned the islands to Mauritius, fixing the wrongs of the colonial era. It's secured the US base at the same time, as well as preventing China from getting its own base. Moody's downgraded the credit rating of the United States due to concerns over its $36 trillion debt pile. The move sent ripples through financial markets and will complicate President Donald Trump's efforts to cut taxes. The Moody's rating agency dropped the US government's credit score, citing rising debt and interest costs that are significantly higher than similarly rated sovereigns. For decades, US government bonds have served as the global risk-free benchmark for other financial assets. Increasingly, however, that is being called into question. The US debt mountain has been a concern for some time as the US empire continues with huge spending, whilst government income has remained flat. As the US government continues to spend more on rising debt repayments, it will have less for public spending on things like Social Security, healthcare, and defense as it becomes more costly for the government to sustain itself. The US now finds itself in the same place the USSR was in the 1980s. Maintaining a global empire bankrupted the Soviet Union, which completely collapsed in 1991. The leaders of the United Kingdom, France, and Canada issued a joint statement condemning Israel's handling of the humanitarian situation in Gaza and calling on Israel to immediately halt military action in the enclave and allow in more aid, threatening further concrete actions in response if Israel refuses. The 3 leaders, Britain's Keir Starmer, France's Emmanuel Macron, and Canada's Mark Carney, called Israel's announcement to allow a limited amount of aid into Gaza wholly inadequate and said the country's failure to assist the Gazan civilian population is unacceptable and risks breaching international humanitarian law. Netanyahu hit back in a statement, saying London, Paris, and Ottawa were offering a huge prize for the genocidal attack on Israel on October 7th while inviting more such atrocities. The aid began entering the Strip as the military pushed ahead with a fresh operation in Gaza, dubbed Gideon's Chariots, which, according to Israeli officials, would see the IDF conquer Gaza, raze the vast majority of buildings, and retain the territory for the foreseeable future. Despite the condemnation, the UK continues to supply arms to Israel and continues to use its base in Cyprus, making daily flights over Gaza and providing intelligence to the Zionist government. France and Canada have not halted arms sales to Israel also. This begs the question why they are making statements but not halting arms sales. This would indicate the statements are for domestic consumption only, and the arms exports indicate all 3 nations remain ardent supporters of Israel.